All right, so after we clarify the problem, we want to label the problem. The power of labeling, what it does is it allows us to clearly establish the problem without possibly going head to head with them. If you say you don't trust roofers, no, I trust roofers, now we're battling. Well, it sounds like, based on what you're saying, you may not trust roofers. Sounds like you may have had a bad experience with a roofer in the past. Sounds like you haven't taken the next step because you're unsure about the insurance process. Instead of saying, oh, you haven't taken the next step because you're unsure about the insurance process? No, I'm sure of everything. Sometimes the ego gets involved. So if we label it, then it allows them to go, yeah, that's right. And now we've confirmed the problem. All right? After we've labeled the problem, then we want to overview the pain. You also can think of it, I also like to think of it as agitating the pain. So we want to overview it, but we want to poke it a little bit, right? We want to say, man, this must be really stressful what you're going through right now. Do you see all this? If we're doing retail, it's like, hey, look, I know you wanted to repair, but here goes 27 photos that show that your roof is absolutely terrible. You want to repair? And they're like, oh, definitely not. Like once they see it, once they can see it, it changes their entire feeling on it. Pain is emotional. So we want to talk in terms of, how did it feel? How are you feeling right now? How do you feel about the insurance process? You might be a little stressed out. You might be a little, and like, yeah, this has just been overwhelming. I got all this stuff. Okay. Like now we've overviewed the pain. And now after that, we can then provide the solution. All right. The other thing on retail, it's a little bit more difficult sometimes. And we really have to make sure we try to bring this out, because with storm, it's kind of more clear, and you have a lot of social proof on it as well. It's like, hey, my roof got smoked. I saw 19 other neighbors do it, so I got to do my roof. It's kind of there. With retail, especially in some of our markets like New Mexico and Arizona, I mean, like I said earlier, it only rains sometimes once every 6 months. So I got a little leak right there. The first day it happens, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing in the world. My whole ceiling's going to collapse. By day 2, it's like, all right, well, I'm still stressed out. By day 14, it's just a little brown spot. I mean, how long's it might have even been there before the storm? Like, it hasn't. Well, I'll do it next time it rains. So they start becoming just comfortable with it. And there's the old saying, time heals all wounds, right? Think about the worst thing that's ever happened. The first day after, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. And then like a year later, you maybe never think about it. 10 years, you never even think about it again. So we need to get that pain back to the forefront in order to make sure that they have the activation energy to move forward. Again, with insurance, I think it's a little bit easier, but we still want to make sure that while we're there, we have enough activation energy to get them to move forward with us. One of our favorite questions is, how would they feel, or how would their family feel if the roof started leaking next storm? And this is for people that are like at the, looking at preventative rather than reaction. But it's a very powerful question. How would you feel if we didn't get this replaced by the time storm season hits, or by the time next hurricane, or whatever? And we can create some of that urgency with it. Again, tying it back to that pain. Which brings us to the S, sell the dream. All right, so now that we know what the problem is, and now that we know what the pain is, then we present to the pain. Right? If my pain is that I don't know what the insurance process is, my dream is that the insurance process would go 100% smooth and I wouldn't have to do anything. My dream isn't necessarily getting a brand new, IKO roof. That's what we as roofers think the dream is to get this beautiful roof that's, all this. But for me, my dream is I just get my home returned to pre-storm condition. I don't even know, I've never even heard of IKO or OC or any of those other things. I just want a new roof. And I just don't want to have to be stressed about it. And I got this job where I'm working 60 hours a week, and there's just so much on my plate, and I'm just overwhelmed. It has nothing to do about the roof if that's my problem. And that was one of the biggest things that we really discovered early on when we were doing the original B2B model, is because we were in so many states, our quotes were just saying architectural shingles. And we did this for 2 years, and I got two calls asking me what brand of shingles. Out of thousands of roofs, I got 2 calls from homeowners asking, what shingles are you guys going to use? And only one of the 2 actually cared. The other one was just curious. The other guy wanted, I think he wanted either OC or JF, whatever it was. He had saw some commercial and we thought it was the best. But over 2,000 people bought a roof that was just architectural shingles. Because at their time, their problem was, I need a roof before I go solar. They didn't care about the roof. I wanted my solar. The roof just got me there. And that is what is really important to understand when we clarify the problem, is how we're going to then sell the dream. The dream isn't always going to be the roof. It's going to be the process. It's going to be the consistency. It's going to maybe be communication. For someone like me, it's time. Like I'm very, very punctual. And so for me, one of the biggest things that would be important in a contractor, like when I'm shopping for a new HVAC, if they show up 5 minutes late, automatically eliminated. I just value time way more than I should. So that's my black swan. And if we can identify that, and if someone can identify that when they were selling to me and they showed up 5 minutes early every single time, and they told me they were going to do something at 2 o'clock and they did it at 1:55 and they did that 3 times in a row, I'm buying from them. Don't even really care about price at that point, because I know my time to me is more valuable than anything else. That's my problem, is that contractors don't show up on time as a homeowner. So that's where we can then sell the dream of figuring out what our tools in our toolbox are to present to that solution. So if they say, hey, I struggle with this, you say, here's this, whether it's a YouTube video, whether it's a handout, whether it's a text message, whether it's previous homeowners, whatever it is. Another common problem is, I have damage to all this stuff, like windows, siding, et cetera, and I can't even imagine dealing with 4 different contractors. Great, here's the solution to that. But if we only focus on roofing in that situation, we would lose to somebody else that could do all exteriors. Because to that person, their problem is, I don't want to deal with 4 contractors. And that's what we have to really identify, so then we can sell to the dream. All right? And the biggest thing here as well is always translating it back to, what does it mean to them? So I can handle all the trades, so you don't have to talk to 4 different contractors. I'm an insurance expert, so you can get your home returned to pre-storm conditions as quick as possible with as little money out of pocket. I'm an X, so you Y. That is what we want to do, is we want to take what the problem is and provide the solution, and then put it back to them of whatever was important to them. If I was selling to myself as a homeowner, I'd say, hey, we're a veteran-operated business, so we value time immensely. So that way you can be 100% sure that we're always going to show up on time, so you can go on with your busy life. I'll say sold. Because again, that's what's important to me. So if we can identify that, we present the dream back to them with exactly what it means to them, and also what it means to them as the larger point in their life, or in the process, or in the sale, or whatever we're looking at. Same thing if we're talking about upgrading to a metal roof. Man, I just never want, we heard it all the time in Florida, I never want to go through this again. This has been so stressful. This was so scary. This was a nightmare. Okay, so we know the problem, and so let's label it. Sounds like you want to make sure that you invest in your home so that you never have to go through this again. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, awesome. Well, what a lot of my homeowners like to do in this situation is they like to upgrade to a metal roof so they never have to do this again. And they go, oh my gosh, that's me. Because they said, I never want to do this again. I empathize, and then I sold them the dream of, here's what we do, so you never have to go through it again. And you just told me that's exactly what you wanted. I'm going to give you exactly what you want. And here's the solution. And that's your dream. That's how we sell the dream. Everybody's dream is going to be different. And this is one of the biggest mistakes, is that we think everybody's dream is getting a new roof. Everybody's dream is getting, just the roof replaced for just the price of their deductible. And for many people, it's so much more than that. It's something more emotional, or it's something more that they value, rather than just replacing the roof. That's going to happen, but that's going to happen with no matter who they choose. And that's why there's value in understanding their true problem, so we can sell that individual dream. If you remember what I said in the previous, as we were going through this, I said marketing is the power of marketing is 1-to-1, making them feel one of one. So if you have this individual problem and I have this individual solution, oh my gosh, you are perfect for me. You are the right contractor for me, because you heard me, you presented a solution, and that you gave me exactly what I wanted. And that's the power of having a good sales process, because we've identified the problem. Now we can sell to the dream. All right. And then how we do this, how we sell to the dream, is with those YouTube playlists and a good pitch deck, which I'll talk more about the pitch deck here. Let me show you guys if this works. Oh. All right, so here is our pitch deck. This is what, we do it online, but if you guys were sitting at home, this is what you would, let me see if this will go, it won't. Okay, this is what we would use to present to our homeowner. It's a very scripted process that helps them go through their decision tree, all right? We won't go through the whole thing, but just to show you, this is what a pitch deck looks like, and this is what my team learns. All they have to do is learn this, and then everything else becomes simple for them. And so they can learn the deck, they can learn the process, and that is what allows them to be able to hit the ground running as quick as possible, because they can take this home, they can study this, they can understand this. And then when you present the same thing every single time, and somebody gets to, this slide, and they're like, oh, I really care about X. I really care about this. Boom. That's my black swan. That's what I'm going to craft the rest of my message about, is listening for that difference and then presenting the solution to that. And then we just have some simple things of just like, here's the re-roof process. One, you pick out a new roof. 2, we create a material order, it's delivered to your home. 3, we verify the material on site and protect your home. 4, we install your roof up to 5-star standards. 5, we do a cleanup. 6, final walkthrough and certificate of completion. You know what homeowners say to us after that? They go, oh my gosh, I understand roofing now. Yep, great. Now they have certainty about the process. Because now they go, I know exactly what's going to happen, even though it's super, super simple. It's like literally pick your stuff out, we order stuff, we build your roof. But they now feel the confidence that I know what Reimagine Roofing is going to do after I sign this contract. That gives me certainty, even if it's simple. All right. All right. All right, so then the E is for explain away concerns. Now, ideally, our presentation, our process, we should have identified the bulk, if not all, of possible objections. We always want to solve an objection prior to it coming up. Because if you solve the objection at the point of sale, now you're a salesperson. It's like, hey, I don't like this. Here's this, this, and this. Well, of course you'd say that, you're the salesperson. But if instead we have it built into the story, built into the YouTube, built into the pitch deck, and it's like, a lot of homeowners think this. Here's why that's not true. And they go, oh, I was thinking that. Now we're not clashing heads. We're educating instead of fighting the homeowner. We never win when we bump heads with the homeowner. You're never going to be smarter than the homeowner. There's that old saying that it's easier to trick somebody than to convince them they've been tricked. I would say the same thing is true with the homeowner. If they say this is how it's supposed to go, you're not going to come in there and like just headbutt them to change their mind. I like to think of sales as like mental judo, where if they're coming in 100%, we got to be at 0%. If they're coming in 60%, we got to be at 40. If they're in at 5%, meaning like I have no clue what to do, that's when you should step up and go 95%, like let me just take you all the way through. But if they already have some preconceived notions, we need to kind of work them out rather than just trying to bulldog over on them. All right? And how we do that is show, not tell. So if a homeowner says, oh no, we don't need to replace the decking. Well, here goes the photo, here goes the code. And they go, oh, okay, I see why you're going to replace the decking. We always show, not tell. Same thing with our testimonials. We don't want to just say, hey, yeah, homeowners love working with me. I want to go, hey, here goes Judy, here goes Sam, here goes Steve. Hear them all saying like how amazing I am. I'll show you one thing we use here. This is one of our tools. This is our portfolio of projects. So this is what we send to our higher end customers. We don't send this out to the 30 square shingle roof, because now it's like, oh, you guys are just the expensive roofer, you guys are the luxury roofer, etc. But if someone's considering doing a 100 square tile job, we want to show them that, hey, yeah, we've done a 170 square tile job, and here's exactly how we did it. Do you think this provides certainty for somebody that has a similar size home that we can do a project of this size? A lot more than me just saying, hey, yeah, we've done a 100 square project before, no problem. Like, no, here it is. And so this is how we can start building those things where that confidence into the presentation of hey, have you guys done this before? Yep, here it is. All right. The next way we build proof, this is our wall of proof. And this is something that we are going to be getting built out along the way. But what we did is we took all of our 5-star reviews and we just threw it on a page. So if anybody is like, hey, I'm kind of on the fence, we can send them this link and they can just go see for days, what other people have said about us. This isn't going to close everybody, but I guarantee somebody's going to look at that and be like, man, they've done a lot of awesome projects. Now I have that certainty. If I was working if it was insurance, I would have a insurance page curated with that. If I was a sales professional myself, I would pull out my 15 reviews or 15 text messages from a homeowner that says, thanks, Cody, for taking care of my roof. Thanks, Cody, for doing an amazing job. And I would have my own mini wall of proof inside of the company's wall of proof. Again, because it all comes back to certainty. And humans are very social creatures. If I see everybody else, it's working out for those 5 people, I'm pretty sure it's going to work out for me. If you've never done a roof before, that's a little scary. I mean, there's no track record there. So we have enough volume within the family of brands that we have this. We just need to show it. And for a lot of you guys have been doing this long enough. You've helped enough homeowners that you have a big book of business that you have 100 people that would say, hey, Cody's an awesome person to work with. Do we have the ability to show Judy that 100 people have loved working with Cody right now? If not, then that's what we need to work towards. So that way you have that, again, whether it's for today, but also for the future. All right. And then the final thing, we want to reinforce the decision. I'm sure we've all been there before. We made a decent sized purchase, and then what usually happens in the next day, it's like, maybe I didn't. I know I needed to get that air conditioner, but maybe I should go get like 6 more quotes right now. I don't know. Like you just get that little bit of like right as the check clears out of your bank account, or right as you're about to write that check, or right as you maybe already signed, but you haven't made the payment yet. And you're just like, oh, suddenly everybody else seems way more interesting. Like, you want to now talk to 10 people because you're right on that edge, but like, it's scary. This is where the R comes in. Reinforcing the decision is extremely vital to help cut down on the cancellations, especially in the storm space. Because you may have signed something yesterday, and then the next person knocks on the door today, and you're already off counting your money, and they haven't heard from you after the signature. It's been 36 hours, 48 hours, and they've just been kind of feeling that little bit, and then someone knocks on the door, and they're like, well, let me hear him out. And then that person, now he's got the foot in the door, figuratively and actually. So we want to reinforce that. As soon as that signature is signed, hey, awesome, here's what happens next. Here goes a YouTube video that says what's going to happen next. And a lot of times it might be, hey, nothing's going to happen for 7 days. That is okay. That's expected. So then when we're 2 days later and nothing has happened, great. That's what I was expecting. Instead of nothing happening, and I'm like, and then I listen to the other people. So that R is really, really essential to reinforce the decision. And this can happen both right after the sale, but then also after the installation as well. In that like loom video I showed you guys earlier on the thank you letter or the thank you loom. But I would do I can do a thank you loom right after they sign as well, right? If that was my deal, I would send them that little 45-second loom. Hey, Judy, just wanted to say thanks again for yesterday. I'm super pumped about getting your claim taken care of. Here's what happens next, blah, blah, blah. Or check out this YouTube video that I've included in the description of what happens next. 30 seconds. 30 seconds to ensure that your cancellations drop because you've reinforced the decision. All right. Other big thing here too is proper expectations and deviations. Hey, look, if we do have a 7-day waiting period, that's okay as long as we set that expectation. But what we do a lot of times, myself included as a salesperson, it's like we always give the best case scenario. Oh, we're going to send this off to insurance. It could get approved within 7 days. And they're like, that's all we say. Well, then on day 14, what happens? Well, now I'm starting to get some doubt. Like they said, it was going to be 7 days. And I don't know if I can trust you. Certainty is not constant. All right, I'm going to say that again. Certainty is not constant. Just think about your personal relationships, right? You've had a relationship with somebody before. You're like, this person is 100% on point. He'll never, ever make a mistake, whatever. And then the one time he shows up late. Oh, well, okay, I'm still pretty certain about him. And then he shows up late 10 times. And then it's like, okay, I can never count this person again. So certainty is not constant. And so we want to keep that in mind and find ways to make sure that we don't lose these deals. But also each time we reinforce the decision and they re-engage with that reinforcement, that's another chance for a referral because now you're back top of mind. And they just go, oh my gosh, Cody sent me a video, man, that was really cool. And then they talk to their sister or the cousin or the neighbor, and it's like, man, I got this roofer. Not only did they help me get this signed, they got this approved, and he's like, just give me the best customer service ever. It's just wild. I've never had such a good experience with a roofer. And again, because we're back top of mind, you spent 45 seconds, much higher chance of the referrals on that side. So reinforce, very, very important, and very, very easy to do. If we have that systematic process with it where when it hits this stage, this goes out. Or on your personal level, hey, 24 hours after every sale, I send out this video or I send out this. Making it systemized is what allows it to be repetitive. All right.